Hey everybody, welcome back to repairing this BenQ W1070. As of the last video, I took through troubleshooting the HDMI power supply. We checked this IC here. We found out the IC was good, but the output here was shorted. So digging a little further, we ended up at this analog devices chip here. This is the HDMI chip that both ports feed into. Now I replaced this. I got one on eBay. They're about 40 bucks, and put it in, and installing was not bad. Unfortunately, the chip had some bent pins on it, so I had to actually do it by hand instead of using my hot air station, so that was kind of tough. But one of the benefits of working on projectors is you run across all kinds of lenses, so having this in front of me made it a lot easier to do by hand. I think this is out of an old Sanyo. Let's see. So it's not bad. You know, it works pretty well. So then after I replaced this, I turned it on and it came up, but HDMI 2 here didn't work. So I started digging a little more, and I'm pretty sure this is where the problem happened with the customer. And I found that all of the diodes, those little black things that look like dust, the diodes, there was 5 of these originally, but 2 of them were actually blown to pieces. So they were shorted or leaky, so I took those out, and they're part of voltage overprotection here. If you get too much voltage in either way, an AC signal, these will drain it to ground. So I took those out. Still didn't work. These will not prevent it from working if they're removed. They actually don't do anything until the voltage gets too high. Then I was looking at, make sure I got the right one here. Looking at this chip. I don't know what these are. This one is across this, and this one goes across that. You can see it's just the receive lines that are going in. RXC, RXO, RX1, RX2. Nothing about TX. So thinking about it, I was wondering if maybe, I don't know, since nothing's coming out and they're just going to I2C, maybe this is something for HDCP. Like I said, it just goes across. Like we have the receive lines coming in through HDMI right here, RXO, RX1, RX2, and RXC. These are supposed to go eventually, well, they eventually go to this chip. But this goes across. I think this might be for HDCP. I don't know. I'm just guessing. So I took it out anyway, because when I put my meter across and measured some resistances, it did not match this side. I know this side's good. This is actually a good tip. If you have a device where you have identical systems in it and one of those systems is working, you can, compare and contrast between the two. So I had some different resistance readings here. So I unsoldered this chip, hooked it up. Lo and behold, I had video. Now, is this critical for operation? Doesn't seem that way. Is it needed? Might be. Might be. However, this side still has one. And as far as I can tell, everything's functional. So worst case, if the fella has some DVDs that have HDCP on them, again, if this is for HDCP, you can use this HDMI input. This is technically HDMI 2. And this is HDMI 1, even though on the paper they call them 0 and 1. On the panel on the back, it says 1 and 2. So worst case, they use that one. Hopefully everything else works fine. I use a Raspberry Pi as a signal generator, and that's been working fine on both inputs. So, just to show you, let's make sure my little button cheater is in there, which it is. Let's fire it up. Oh, and while that's coming on, this is that little unknown chip. I thought maybe it was a transformer at first, the HDMI transformer, but it's not. It's just some unknown, to me, chip that still lets a projector work even if it's not installed. So here's the desktop of the Raspberry Pi, and you can see the color wheel moving across. So there we go. That's the one HDMI port. See, it's working fine. Switch to the other one. Source searching, source detect, and there we go. And there's the other one. So this thing's okay. Replace that chip, removed whatever that is, and a handful of diodes. If this was a newer projector or I don't want to say fancier, because these are decent, but there are instances where it would be recommended to find out what that chip is and replace it. But due to the age of the projector, the use of the projector, it's fine like that. There's really no reason to replace that, being that we have one originally working channel and one, I'll call it modified working channel, creatively repaired. So now we're going to turn it off. I'm going to start putting this back together. Alright, so first things first, let's just check over what I had worked on and see if I have to put anything back in underneath. No, I should be good, unless, oh, nope, I take that back. Does this go, where does this go? I'm pretty sure this goes underneath. So let's unplug this one more time. Also, somebody remind me to test this other lamp while I have this here. Alright, so the, actually I'll show you while I have it like this. Here's where the good channel, or the channel that just came back to life, all its parts. And then there's the parts I removed for the questionable channel. Now I checked both of these EEPROMs and they were the same. I dumped the code from them too, so if you ever need the code for either of these, let me know. But this, yeah, okay. So let's just unfold that, get that ready. There we go. And that'll cut out any interference. Probably work without it, but you know, we don't want to take out everything, just the stuff that needs to be removed. Everything lined up. Oh, let's get you back. This has to go on the top because this is where our wire holder for the ballast wire goes. You'll see. Let me just plug all these back in. I am not going to plug the ballast in yet, though. I'm going to leave that up because that has to be fished through that little holder, or, you know, clamped into it. And this, too, the color wheel has to be, the wires have to be folded up. And I also have to reinstall this. We'll remount this once I get all the rest of this done. Alright, so that, and then we'll get the color wheel stuff tucked back in. There's going to be a screw that goes in here. And then we'll tuck all this stuff into that clip. That's looking good. Alright, I gotta get all these tucked on the right side. Like that. That's good. Yep. Happy. I like that. Alright, I'll get some screws. Alright, and then the piece that I didn't want to do that with. Oh good, it didn't fall too far. So this is what holds the ballast wire from getting in the way of things. Everybody always seems to forget this wire. Alright, and that's tucked in there, that's in there. Put a screw in here. Alright, and the last screw I actually found, I'm pretty sure it's an original BenQ out of another scrapped projector. There we are, that's down. Let's put the lamp screw in. There we are. So now I can fold up the color wheel wire and the color wheel sensor wire and just politely and carefully shove it into there. Then let's look at the remote panel that went there. Let's see. Like that? Yeah, I think it'll go like that. And we're going to glue that. I'm going to show you how in a moment once we get the rest of this plugged in. Now to make this stay, there's a couple methods. We could try getting the soldering iron, heating the plastic, bending it a little. But being that a couple of these tabs are broken, I think I'm going to try something else. I have this stuff. This, here we go. Ultra UV. It's not what I wanted it to be when I ordered it. I was expecting something more liquidy. This stuff's kind of like a gel. But it does work. You know, it settles, or it settles. It cures with the UV light. So what we'll do, we take it like this. There's a little cap on the end. And take the light off, set it off to the side. You squeeze this with the cap off, and then the glue comes out the end. So just put this in position. This should be enough to activate it. Put that little cap back on. They use a little black cap to keep the light from getting in. Alright, so that's setting up. Let's see if the other one's brighter. I have two of these. You know, that looks brighter. Now, the only drag with this UV curing stuff is if you can't shine the light to where the glue is, it's not going to work. Alright, so then, alright, let's just put another dab at the top. Like that. You know, normal sunlight will cure these because sunlight has UV in it. And I'll bet if I just fired the lamp up, there's plenty of UV. So this is how we're going to set that glue up. You have to pardon my voice. I'm kind of getting over a cold. At least I hope I'm getting over it. Might be allergies, I don't know. Put a little bit more. Okay, so that's in there just fine. Now it's time to start putting the back on. Then we have our back panel, which should just slide in. Looking good. Alright, next is we need to put these guys in. Now when this came up, I don't think it had them with it. But that's fine because I have tons of spare parts for that sort of thing. Just want to make sure everything's lined up. Looking good. Yeah. Couldn't quite get it to grab. Let's try. There we are. Just trying to get that board straight. Now let's put this screw in. I got that one started. And this is a 5mm. I use a just a Phillips to get it started. All right, and then next, the upper cover. And again, there's no keyboard to worry about. try and get this thing down straight. There we go. Getting that clip in's a pain. All right, our first screw is going to go in here. Then we just have our bottom screws. Now, when putting in bottom screws on one of these, I recommend supporting underneath where the screw tower is. Because if you don't, it may push the screw tower out of the way, and then you'll just be sitting there spinning a screw that's not going into anything. Well, best case, worst case, you're be spinning the screw into something it shouldn't be going into. And then we have two in the back. And then the last but not least, we'll put the lamp cover on. One little tip, I actually pulled this screw back out because I wanted to show you. The screw that comes out of here, it's shorter than the other ones, so keep that in mind. Landed the wrong way up. All right, that is in well. Get our lamp cover. I think that helps with airflow. Oh, thank you for reminding me, by the way, that I wanted to try that other lamp. I don't know if that's any good. I kind of don't think it is, but let's just see. Make 100% sure. That's the door switch. And let's get some power in it. Good. I kind of don't think that lamp's good. Nah, it's not coming up. Alright, good to know. So, this lamp will go in the trash, or I'll just scrap it. The lens is good. Alright, let's put his lamp back in. Alright, that's clipped in. Put that little plastic sticky pad cover thing back on. Lines up with that little line right there. It's kind of sticky enough. And then we'll put this cover back on. Getting our cover screw, which I smartly stored there. And when you put this back on, there is a clip up in here that grabs onto. So these go in there. Don't over tighten that. Lens cap is off. Let's get our test source. HDMI 1. There we go. You can see 1920 by 1080 at 60 hertz. So of course I'll be sure to return these parts with it. There we go. Projector is it's fixed. I honestly wasn't sure if this one was going to be repairable or not. I kind of thought it was a goner, but as you can see, it's working great. So if you have any questions about your W1070 or any associated model, there's a few that are like this, MX710, 600 I think, there's a few. But if you need a lamp for one, I put a link in the description. And if you have any questions, you can put those down in the comments or email me. And of course, as always, thank you for watching.